Okay, hello. Welcome everyone to the Pioneer Valley Regional School District School Committee meeting. It is Thursday, June 9th, 2022. It is currently 7:14 p.m. We are here in the PVRS library as well as via Google Meet. This meeting is being held via Google Meet in accordance with the Governor of Massachusetts March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. In addition, a link to view the school committee meeting will be on the website at pvrsdk12.org, or you can view it at Facebook/BNC television. The public is welcome to attend in person or to watch via the links, but in the event of an issue with the links, the public meeting in person shall continue to proceed. As always, if you'd like to speak virtually via Google Meet during citizens' comments, you can email citizenscomments@pvrsdk12.org. So I will go ahead and call our meeting to order this evening with a roll call vote. We will start, and I always start with Melissa, so I'll start with Nathan tonight.
Oh. Man.
Melissa Gary, Bernardston here.
And Julie Burke, Northfield here. I just wanted, oh yes,
David.
David. Thank you, David. Sorry about that. I wanted to let everyone know that I did start to record the meeting just because Anne wasn't able to make it here tonight. So this way she'll have a digital copy. All right, our first order of business would be citizens' comments, which I don't see any here in person, and I didn't get any emailed to me for this evening. So we will move on to minutes. First off, we have the minutes from May 3rd, 2022. So any discussion?
Yep.
Yes, Karen.
Okay. On the first page, under 2D, second line, I don't know what this means. I mean, I do, but I don't know how to fix it.
Your microphone may need to be a little closer.
Okay, under 2D.
So which line, Karen?
Line 2. Who view special education in a separate silo to do general education. Is it?
Oh, that was one of the questions.
That was one of the questions.
Yeah, that was one of the written questions.
Yeah, but was it written that way?
Hang on, hold on.
I don't understand it, the way it's written.
It's definitely
You just, no.
Anyone have the questions from last, or from the?
Stephanie's looking.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
So it looks like the to do is the problem, like
Yeah,
as
right.
like you could replace with in regards to or in conjunction with.
I think we have.
Or is compared with?
Yeah, yeah. I think you need
something.
a relating
Yeah.
article there.
Okay. And then on page 3, under the second paragraph, the paragraph that starts with Genovese, on the 6th line, just need an S on the end of matter. Nothing else really matters. And in the same paragraph, 6 lines above the bottom, references from the Palmer District, I think, and reiterated the findings from the site visit. Is that correct, Michelle? Were those two distinct things?
Yes.
Okay, so insert an and. And then on the last page, 3rd line, I think it should be, she liked her focus instead of like. And then the 4th line, Giarusso was particularly impressed with Kennedy's something about students, comment about students, reference to students, concern. There's a missing word,
Remember.
and that's what I have.
Yeah.
I have
would say
something.
concern. Yeah.
Melissa, did you have a comment?
It continues to say that Robin is present at all meetings in the present committee members,
Mm.
with the list of members who are present at all the meetings.
Yep.
She was at that one, though.
Was
Is
she?
that that one?
She was? Was this,
Yeah, she's actually listed in the minutes, too, about
Oh.
some of her comments.
For the
Okay.
superintendent.
It was
yes.
after that.
it was after, okay, so it was the next one, okay. So it's the next,
And,
sorry.
yeah, but she is on the list for the next one.
Okay.
That's where I noticed it first.
Yep.
I just have one. Yep, go ahead, Stephanie.
Page 2, Ashley Fogel's last name is spelt wrong. It's Fogle. Under 3 public comments.
This is May 3rd.
Yep, May 3rd still, sorry.
Yeah, no, we're, yeah. I was the only one.
Yep. Okay. Any other notes about May 3rd?
Could you just clarify on, back on page 1, 2D, how did you resolve that?
So I think, Alan, what they were going to do is we will need to bring it to Anne's attention and perhaps have her go.
No, I mean,
Oh.
what was the
I think-
rewording of it?
I think after silo, as compared to general education.
Okay, I thought, yeah, a separate silo apart from general education, but whatever.
Well, we
Either
could-
one works.
We have
We
to,
have
Okay.
the question.
Yeah, we could reference the questions,
yeah.
you know,
I
since
think that'd be the
those
most
are
appropriate.
available to us. So we can, Anne will be watching the minutes. She could perhaps just make that change
Yeah.
as we had asked the question.
Right.
Okay. So,
Another one?
oh, yes, please.
In that paragraph, number 2, under interviews, line 5, in response,
Okay. Yep. Instead of in respond. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's great. Those were copious minutes. Anyone else have anything? Okay, so we can
I-
entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the draft minutes from May 3rd with the corrections as noted.
I'll second them.
Great. Any further discussion? Okay, Melissa?
Melissa Gary, yes.
Rita Dastu, yes.
Katie Milton, yes.
Michelle DeRusso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Ethan Schwartz, yes.
David?
David Young, yes.
Great. And Julie Burke, yes. Okay, so on to the minutes for May 19th. Aaron?
Yeah. All right. Under 4, number 3, 5 lines from the bottom. The NES principal position, I think we need a word like search will begin quickly or something. It's not complete. Or begins quickly. And then on page 4, number 3, near the very end, it says, O'Neill had fiber. I don't know how you know about my breakfast, but I stated that Leiden had fiber. Okay?
Tyler, is that noise coming through on the microphone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And on page 5, number 11, we seem to have an incomplete sentence at the end. She wished Desmaris what? That was me, I guess. I wished her well in the future.
Okay. All right, anyone else?
I have, under superintendent reports, number 4, under 3. So 4-3, 5th line down, Christie's spelled with an I-E. Christy Fontaine.
What page is that?
So first page.
First page?
Yep, first page, under the superintendent reports, number 4, reports, and then number 3,
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
6th line down,
4 reports. and-
Christie,
Oh, I.E., yeah.
I-E.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then we have to take Robin Knipe's name off, those attending.
Is there anything I didn't notice on the preceding minutes? If there was anything in that about Karen resigning?
Karen?
Robin?
Not Karen, I mean Robin. Wow. Because she did do it at a meeting.
It was at that May 3rd meeting.
Yeah, it was.
Uh-huh.
It was, no, I didn't see it reflected in there.
I
That's what
didn't
was-
either. Oh.
I don't
I
remember
thought
her
she
saying
sent
it
an
publicly.
email.
She didn't say it publicly.
She wasn't,
She wrote a letter. No.
yeah, she wrote a
I
letter.
want to say she said it would be her last
Yeah.
meeting.
That was me.
It wasn't during,
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It was after she came up.
okay.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
All right, anything else for May 19th? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the May 19th draft minutes with corrections noted.
Second? Okay, great. Further discussion? All right, Melissa?
Melissa Gary, yes.
Raina Dastu, yes.
Jeannie Milton, yes.
Michelle Druso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
David Young, yes.
And Julie Burke will abstain. I was not at the meeting.
I guess we should note that we don't have the May 26th meeting, minutes.
That's a good point. All right, so those will be added to next week's agenda. We'll check in with Ann. Okay, thank you for that.
That's okay.
Okay, next we'll move on to reports. So our student is rightfully absent as he has graduated. So good for Ryan, and I just want to say how wonderful Ryan was.
Yeah.
He's just such, it was such a great addition to the meeting, you know, to have a student there, and especially someone who is so kind and committed as he was. And then for my chair report, so this will be my final meeting, and I really didn't have a lot to say other than, of course, reiterating my thanks to every one of you and to the town of Northfield for, you know, having me be and serve on this committee for the past 18 months. I did want to announce, I'm sure everyone on the interwebs is already aware, and in this room, but the boys baseball team won their game. So they, and I can't even begin to do it justice. Tyler tried to explain it to me. But I do know that they are moving on. So, and it's part of the next divisional game for the state of Massachusetts and in the certain division that they're in. Division 5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, the people out there, this game will be played here at Pioneer on Saturday.
Yes.
Oh, it's home.
I don't know the time. Do you, Tyler? Not yet. Okay. People look
see
out
if
for it.
I'll look during the meeting to see if MIAA has
Come
posted.
support your local team.
Yes, that's really, really, really wonderful. And also, I wanted to take this opportunity to discuss the role of the chair and just get some feedback, and perhaps, I know it wasn't on the agenda this evening, you know, to vote on it, but I thought that I could share some of my feedback, and then potentially it can be discussed under other business if people wanted to. You know, the role of the chair is an incredibly rewarding one, one that I have certainly learned a lot from. It does take a significant commitment of time. And, you know, I joined the committee at the same time as Raina. And not that I'm not impressed with every single one of you. But I have been in contact with Raina just to see if she would be interested in the position. And I just wanted to put that out there, that I would recommend Raina as the next chair of the committee. So we can certainly, you know, either discuss it now, or just, you know, if you wanted to discuss it under other business, if you feel it's important to choose a chair at this meeting, we certainly can do that. Any comments from anyone, or?
Would Raina want it? I would be willing to take the position.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe we could vote on it
Yeah.
tonight.
Okay.
I nominate Raina Dastos to be our next school committee chairman.
I
second
that.
All right. Okay, any further discussion? And now would certainly be the time if someone else wanted to throw their hat in the ring, certainly. Nathan?
Just Raina, so, I don't know, the term on the chair, like how, if it's a set term, I'm just curious, because we're getting a significant number of new members,
Yeah.
or we might, right, this upcoming election.
Every time at the election, we reorganize.
Yeah,
It's a
that's right.
two-year stint, but
right.
2 years is up.
Oh, okay.
This would be till November.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that,
David.
that doesn't mean she couldn't run
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
we
yeah.
had Pat
Yep.
Shearer for what, 20-some years? Chair. Yeah. Okay.
That was something, and I see Patricia's pulling up the district agreement. I wasn't sure about the if we had term limits, you know, in our
No, we
little
don't.
committee. No? Okay, okay.
And the old one, no, and the new one,
The new one, yeah.
yes.
Oh, okay.
But the new one's not approved.
But that's
Right,
not,
right.
Just
Right, what's being currently worked on.
Speculation.
Okay, okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, Melissa?
Melissa Gary?
Yes.
Raina Dasty, abstain.
Edie Milton, yes.
Michelle Druso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
David Young, yes.
And Julie Burke, yes. So congratulations, Raina.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to take over right now.
Okay, wait till next
Okay.
I'll let you have your last
Right,
meeting.
you'll observe, okay.
You wouldn't want to steal your
I don't want to
thunder.
steal your thunder.
All right, so that was all of my business for this evening. So we can move on to Patricia.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations, Ms. Dastu. I look forward to collaborating with you. Okay, I have an update. We shared with you in your packet the Student Opportunity Act update for the year, and as in the cover sheet, this was prepared by Curriculum Coordinator Ariel LaRoe. The district is required to submit an update annually to the department regarding the district's use of Student Opportunity Act funds. And I am pleased to report that we submitted our report this spring, and the department has found that we met all of their criteria. So we have no corrective actions on this report. And I will be brief tonight. That's my report.
Can I ask a question about the report? When it was submitted, was there any supporting documents?
This is the briefest of overviews. So yes, I can ask Ariel to provide us with the supporting documents.
That would be helpful,
Mhm.
because I'm curious about some of these and to what level.
If you tell me, I'll make sure that we get the information.
Right off the top of my head. Okay.
Melissa, you could
Yeah,
also
we
email
can
me
do-
if you
yes,
want. That's
Yeah,
fine.
to pull it right out. That's what I was looking for, was the supporting documents to identify where
Right.
these were done.
I would just like to say I was very pleased to see expanding capacity to address social, emotional learning and mental health needs of students and families.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Next, Judy, Director of Finance report.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The first thing under the Director of Finance report is the accounts payable report, which you all received via email at the time that we put forth the warrant for signatures. So I'm assuming there were no questions because I didn't get any during the process of signing the warrant. Just so that you are aware that we are working on using Adobe DocuSign in place of DocuSign as the signing mechanism. It works very similarly to DocuSign, but we've been using my account, and obviously after June, something else needs to take place. So we've been working with the tech department to get that added to the license, and so that will change how the warrant goes out, but it's pretty similar. You'll get an email, go in, do your thing, and then it's all set. So just wanted to make you aware of that. So on to the signing of warrants. We did get 7 signatures for the last accounts payable warrant, so thank you for putting up with my nudges to make sure we get the requisite number that are needed to get a warrant across. So I do appreciate that. In terms of the May financials, the results of operations through May of 2022 show that expenses year-to-date against the budget are $11,707,462.87. Encumbrances at this point in time are $2,327,945.70, which leaves you with a balance as of May 31st of $815,881.43. So you're in a really good financial position right now. We are continuing to do cleanup, looking at purchase orders, asking administration to go through purchase orders that are open, and if, in fact, we are done, to please close them out so that we know where things are at. So we've been working through all of that. We'll continue to do that through the rest of the month so that when we hand off the process to the new Director of Finance, that he'll have what he needs to be able to close the year down. So we have a list of budget transfers as well. That is in your packet, and there are 2 sets as soon as I can find them. They're in the packet here somewhere. Here we go. The first page is the page of informational ones. These are ones that are within control accounts per the way that you voted the FY22 budget. So those are ones that don't need approval and that we will go ahead and take care of. Again, in full transparency, just to let you know where the money is coming from and going to. And Patricia's trying to tell you it's the purple paper. I got the hint. Sorry. No worries. Everything's white in my world, so thank you for that piece. On the back side, on page 2, are the transfers that need to be approved in order for us to send them off to the commissioner. And I'll entertain any questions if anybody has any. Again, it's just we're trying to clean up lines and have lines that have negative balances, come to the positive. So that's really what these are about. So we have $25,600 in transfers between
So
control accounts.
do we have to make that motion separately, or can we do that as a aggregate?
You can make, approve the transfers between accounts in the amount of $25,600. You could do it that way, certainly.
So I move that we transfer as indicated on the second purple sheet of $25,600.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, Melissa?
Melissa Gary, yes.
Rita Dastu, yes.
Rita Milton, yes.
Michelle Druso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Ethan Schwartz, yes.
David Young, yes.
Julie Burke, yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So that takes care of that piece of business. Moving on to the lunch report. So there are 2 pages to that. One that is, and I'm looking to Patricia to find out, oh, they're blue.
Blue.
Okay, thank you, Julie. The one that has some of the red numbers on it, you can see the revenues and expenditures to date. The overall profit for the month of May was $27,793.60, which brings the total closing balance as of May 31st to $167,420.03. There will be some payroll accruals that will happen for people who have chosen to be paid over the summer, and that's $17,298.35. So it leaves you with a very healthy balance in school lunch right now of $150,121.68. So again, that's a great position to be in at this point in the year. So your school lunch program is looking, or your food service program is looking certainly quite healthy. And then the second page of it just shows you the monies that are received from the various sources, including state and federal reimbursements, and all of those kinds of things, so that you can see, and you can see down at the bottom the number of qualified meals that were served and what the participation and enrollment were. And again, May is one of those months where you have one day off, so May is a very healthy month, and I'm sure April you went, oh, but there was a week off in there, so it does make a difference as the calendar ebbs and flows.
Right.
I think you have a question, Madam Chair.
Oh,
Me.
sorry.
Me.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Thank you. Do we know about summer salaries? When I saw federally that so far they're not going to expand the lunch program for children.
The federal government, if you remember a couple of months ago, we brought you that report that the federal government has chosen to discontinue the Free Meals for All program. As the budget has been going through the state legislature, the House passed an amendment to the budget to put a program in place for Massachusetts. When it got to the Senate, they chose not to act on the amendment. That budget right now is in conference committee between the two sides, and the fact that the Senate did not reject the amendment is a good sign, that it may actually come out in conference committee, and we're just awaiting that magic moment. And then, of course, as you know, the governor does have line item veto, so we still got a little way to go before the state budget is in and done, and if he does veto a line, obviously they can override that veto. So we're hopeful that by July 1, there will be a state budget in place, but it always comes down to the wire every year, so that's where we're at. So, but I thought, people I've talked to, and I agree, the fact that the Senate didn't vote the amendment down, but they just chose not to act on it, was a pretty good sign that it may come out of conference committee. So we'll see what happens on that front. Thank you.
Question?
Yes. Go ahead, Alan.
Is it in here, maybe under food costs? Have we sort of restocked the pantry given the supply issues and food costs probably going up for the coming year, so that we get our shelves stocked?
Right. There's an awful lot of, at the end of the year, cleaning, disinfecting, and all of that kind of thing that has to happen before you really want to bring in a whole lot of new stock. But I have talked with Michael about, just being mindful of trying to get things in sooner rather than later. we did get some grant monies out of the federal government for supply chain assistance, and the parameters of those grants was to buy local. So Michael did a lot of work to find local vendors who could provide healthy, nutritious foods for students here. And he's working with a group in New Hampshire and another group and a dairy locally. So to hopefully eliminate or at least alleviate some of the supply chain issues.
Right.
But I think as they get things cleaned up in the kitchens and take a good inventory of what's going on, that they'll then, probably put in some orders to get things restocked as soon as possible.
I was looking at more of the bulk canned goods that would come in, and they could stay in the boxes until they clean the shelves and so forth and put them out. So
I'll double check with Michael and just see where he's at in that process.
thank you.
It's a good suggestion. Yeah, go ahead, Patricia.
Just a note, there may be some minor construction in the NES kitchen this summer that would hamper our ability. I agree, it's a great suggestion.
You put it in the classrooms or some other place until it's time.
Yeah. Okay.
And hope we don't have mold.
Or even,
You said
I know,
the
sorry.
M word.
They're huge.
Not nice.
even put it here. I mean, if we have,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
options here.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll double check with him on where he's at
Thank
with
you.
that process.
Thank you.
And then the last thing that I wanted to speak to, which was something that was emailed to you late today and paper copies, is memorandum that I put together for the confirmation of the Warwick payment on the outstanding debt on the State House note. So we notified them back in February regarding their portion of the outstanding loan note, and as of next year, that loan note will be $317,299. And principal, we had to kind of estimate, because every year the note gets fully paid off is what happens, and then we go out to bid for a new note. So it's whatever the interest rate happens to be at the time that the loan is secured, so it's really hard to predict. So we did the best that we could, but looking at, $1,174 worth of interest on that, on the portion of that total amount. And so calculated using the assessment formula at the time of $27,826.67. Warwick held a special town meeting in March. The residents voted to pay the bill with them. We met with the State Department to talk about how we would book that revenue and so on. And so we have, at their request, put together a fund balance reserve account in the general fund to post the revenue. The check from Warwick has been received, so that portion of the loan has been paid in full, and that has been posted to that general fund reserve account as directed by the department. This memo has gone to the department, and I did receive confirmation that they have seen it, and I know that Superintendent Kinsella sent it off to the town officials in Warwick today as well. So I just wanted to update you that things are paid in full, and that, that everybody has been notified of that fact.
Judy, on number 2,
Yep.
the date is incorrect, the year.
Oh, June.
I was wondering also.
Little typo. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
fix that.
David?
I wonder when we expect the next audit, because I would be most comfortable if we had something in writing documenting that Pioneer has no other debt. That's something that Jesse doesn't seem to be remembering from meeting to meeting. I went to the FY19 audit, and it states that the State House note is the only debt. I know that we haven't incurred any, but it'd be nice to be able to document it like we have with this piece of paper. And secondly, I wanted to just note that Warwick paid its share of the principal, and now, and we paid our share of the interest up to December, and we will be paying our share of the interest and pay down again but just for the 1-year increment when we pay our assessment for FY23. So Warwick's paid up on that State House note, but we'll still be getting assessed as if we aren't. But for the that's not complaining. We'll just settle it up in the end. But you know, in terms of any minor discrepancy in the amounts, we're paid up with interest into the future.
Okay. As far as the audit is concerned, the auditors are, like everybody else, very short-staffed, and so we still have not yet received the FY21 audit. As you remember, they asked us to push back the date because they were having trouble getting out to districts to do their testing, and we're still waiting on that audit to come in. We did check with them probably a couple of weeks ago, and they said they're still working on it. So I'll check in with the auditors again to see, you know, when we might expect to see that audit come in.
Who would be the authoritative person or office holder to make a statement on behalf of the district with respect to debt so that it could be documented?
David, can you help me understand your question a little more?
It seems to me that the treasurer would be the school official who could issue a letter that says that the district does not have any other debt.
Yeah,
am I correct?
The district does not, but if the treasurer needs to issue a letter to that effect, we could certainly do that. But yeah, there is no other debt. This is it.
Thank you.
You don't have any capital debt or any of that kind of stuff right now, so.
David, excuse me, sorry.
Yeah,
Julie?
go ahead.
Is it the district doesn't have debt or that Warwick doesn't have debt to the district?
The district doesn't have debt.
The district.
And Warwick doesn't have debt.
Right, that's how I'm viewing it.
Both.
And the,
But if there were other debt, then Warwick would owe more money because we would have to
I
pay
see.
the share.
I believe that the draft Warwick transition agreement, the draft language says the district has no outstanding debt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that would imply that Warwick,
Okay.
as a member town, has no obligation to an existing.
Mhm. So is it the committee's desire to have us issue a letter from the treasurer to the town of Warwick to that effect, or are we all set?
If they need it.
So this went out to the towns, correct? So what are
Yes.
what would we be sending to the?
So David was asking if the treasurer could send a letter stating that there is no other outstanding debt.
Okay,
that
you'd
they-
like that formally, David?
Please.
Okay. That's,
Okay, so we could
At our most
entertain.
recent meeting with Desi last week, they did not retain that fact. It would be just nice to be able to stack that up.
Okay. We could entertain a motion for that.
I'll move that the treasurer of the district issue a letter to the town of Warwick stating that the district doesn't have any other debt beside the lunch program debt.
You want to clarify that
and the-
capital debt?
and the lunch program doesn't have any debt right now, so.
Oh, right, no, I mean
Well, you meant the
besides
State House
what
note.
we owe for that debt. You know,
It's capital debt.
he wants to know any other debt, and I'm just
Yeah.
trying to frame that.
Okay. There
It's
i-
any other
Yeah,
debt.
we
There
don't
is no
have
other debt.
any.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the letter would state that we have no outstanding debts.
Right.
Could I help?
Yeah.
him? I could read from the draft, again, this is a draft transition agreement, Section 3, Warwick's liability for regional debt and costs, there's a little introductory, Section 3.1A, as of the date of the signing of this transition agreement, PVRSD has no outstanding capital debt.
Capital, that's the word.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
because we
Yeah.
do have that other debt. Yeah.
You know what? Let's just move on. I didn't mean to
All
slow the
right.
committee
Okay.
down, and this discussion assures me. Let's just move on.
Okay.
All
Not,
right.
not
Thanks,
required.
David.
So, no letter, is that what I'm,
Well, I heard
Yep.
a letter with capital debt, but
no letter, okay,
Okay,
all right.
thank you.
Just, as we move through the rest of June, Obviously, with 3 out of the 4 towns now having passed the budget, we are preparing to upload the FY23 budget into the accounting system, so we're going to do that on Monday. We're working on preparing the file. If you remember from when we did the budget, we had some new lines, so I'm assigning those account numbers, and then Nikki Gonzalez and I will together work on getting that uploaded so that that's ready for the new Director of Finance as he comes on board. And then the last couple of weeks, obviously, we'll spend time in transition with him and get him as much up to speed as we possibly can.
Just for clarification on that, in case any committee members or anyone out there didn't know, so that requires a majority of the 4 towns. So that's why we needed 3 of the 4 towns to pass the budget, so we can safely say that it's passed. But we'll still certainly, Leiden will still have their vote.
Actually,
And we will be there for it.
Yes.
We will be there.
It in fact requires not a majority, but a 2/3 vote. But because we're a district of 4, the closest we can
Yep.
come to 2/3 is 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Okay,
And that's all I have.
all right.
Thank you.
Great, thanks,
you,
Judy.
Yeah, thank you.
Ride home.
Okay.
Is this, excuse me,
Is this Judy's last?
is this the last?
Is this the last
Oh,
time?
Judy,
That's
well,
what I
thank
think.
you
so much for helping us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank
You are
you.
welcome, and in 14 days I retire, but who's counting?
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Look at the smile.
Yeah. How many years, Judy, in education and? That's right.
Yes.
No, that's remarkable. Thank you for all of your service.
Thank you.
And for all you've done for the
For all your
kids.
patience.
Yes.
Did not know she needs to stay.
Oh, certainly. I think she's,
Yeah.
Over the hump.
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Thanks especially for working with the incoming finance director.
All right, so we'll move on to business now.
This item needs to be stricken. Okay, sorry.
Yep, no, that's okay. So the first one here, so Patricia. I think
Yes.
we're gonna- Yep.
In your packets, you have, and we sent electronically, I am requesting your consideration and approval of a child rearing leave for an instructional assistant at Bernardston Elementary School. Under the PVASP, which is our support personnel contract, child rearing leave must be approved by the school committee. Both Dr. Carrier and I support this leave. The employee meets the criteria for leave. She is requesting up to a leave of up to 1 year under the child rearing section of the extended leave without pay portion of the PVASP contract.
I would move we approve the leave.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, okay. Any further discussion? All right, Melissa?
Melissa Gary, yes.
Raina Dastu, yes.
Katie Milton, yes.
Michelle Jeruso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Nathan Schwartz, yes.
David Young, yes.
Julie Burke, yes. All right, that passes unanimously.
And we wish her well.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I will pass along your good wishes. We are very happy for her.
Okay, the school committee meeting calendar for FY23.
And I have a couple of typos. I apologize for these. Again, you have this in your packet, for January 2023. I believe that should say January 12th and then January 19th. Thank you. And then in February, February 16th is not a vacation week.
Oh, it's not big.
It's not the vacation week. And again, my apologies for those typos.
I just wanted to make note. So we did receive, I believe it was Karen, probably a year ago, when we were doing those meetings that were lasting 4, 5, 6 hours. Yes. You had made a motion a long time ago that, no meeting goes past 2.5 hours. So as a result, we needed to create a second meeting the following week in case we had any items. And at that time, we voted on making that change. We were calling that the continuation meeting when really there's no such thing. So
Right.
if a meeting is called to order and then concluded, that is the conclusion of that meeting. So it was semantics. We set the agenda as if it was a completely new meeting, you know, and we do try to keep the second meeting, the second week agenda limited to the items that were left over from the first meeting. However, it has been an opportunity to also add some things that need to be attended to. So that is why there are 2 meetings listed per month. Our hope is that that second meeting would not be 2 hours or 2.5 hours as the first one is. But it will no longer be a continuation meeting. The school committee would be meeting twice per month.
So just a comment? So you could do what you were doing if you didn't adjourn the meeting, you recess the meeting, and then you pick up the agenda. The issue happens because you are adding new items to the agenda.
Yeah.
If we could stick to not doing that, you recess, we come back, we finish.
Yeah.
So if the pleasure of the committee is to add more things to that agenda and have another meeting, then the calendar, I guess, would have to be as you have it here. Otherwise, you'd asterisk it and say, if the meeting is recessed for the second. But
And just from experience, Alan, we have found that there are too many items for 2.5 hours. And so I don't just mean the leftover ones that there's at least 4 hours worth of meeting work per month for the full committee to be part of. And I know I feel like a hypocrite now because I'm leaving, but that has been our experience, hasn't it, Patricia, that we've had to rely upon that second meeting.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a second meeting that is a second meeting.
Yes,
Just in case something
I
comes
agree.
up that needs to be addressed in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree.
And ideally, yes, we just, take a recess and come back and address the things that we need to address, but just in case something comes up, I think it's good to have,
Have it as a separate.
have it as a separate
Right.
meeting, like we have been doing.
Right.
Right?
I-
Come, bring the meeting to a close, and have a whole new agenda.
I agree.
and the other comment to follow up, I can wait,
Go ahead, you can follow up.
is that let's look really carefully at the agenda to determine which things belong with administration and do not need to come to the committee. Could be done in a cover letter, or it could be done as a review of things that are happening to inform the committee, but there's not an action to be taken, and which things are in the purview of the committee that need to be discussed and voted.
So, thank you.
Go ahead.
So I would agree with that in my short time here. If we're talking about looking at how we have our meetings and run meetings together, I do also find that the 2.5 hour, we haven't always held to it, because I think we're also finding ourselves willing to continue the conversation and go beyond that 2 hours. So that hard 2 hours is tough when everybody's kind of in the mode to talk. I really am curious about if we move the time to 6 p.m. and that 2.5 hours still would get us out, 3 hours gets us to 9. And I would be pretty sure that within a 3 hour, really kind of compressed, being aware of everyone's airtime, myself included, substantially, that we could get a lot done in 3 hours. I know that at 7 o'clock, I'm exhausted. Yeah. And there's some really important stuff that comes up. And by the time 9 hits, sometimes we just get our conversations going on certain things. So I'm curious if the second meeting could be almost like a TBD, like keep your calendars open. But if we start at 6 o'clock, I think we might find we have a lot more energy to cover stuff and mental capacity. The other thing that I'd also like to talk about is what we're going to do, and I don't know whether this is the appropriate time for coming in remotely or not, and whether that is going to be something we're going to continue, or whether that's something that we're going to allow as just kind of a choice at any time. Because I feel it takes up a lot of time in the beginning of every meeting to get people logged on, check the audio. I mean, even today it was 7:13 before we started, and this is every meeting all the time. So even though I love the opportunity to do that, if one of us was sick and this was our only option, I'm there. So those are my kind of cliff notes. I would like to see an earlier start time. I think if we got out at 9 o'clock, we could get a lot done within that time. And it's also a lot lighter during winter time. And then kind of start thinking about remote in.
Karen?
I disagree with the earlier start time. I have too many times when my home life is disrupted. I have to leave a lot earlier maybe than some other people because it takes me a full half hour to get here. And I would also like to say that we've had the best of intentions for a long time of shortening our meetings. And sometimes we would go, starting at 7, we would go till past 11 o'clock. And, you know, maybe some people are night people and others are not. But I start to really fade around 9 or 9:30. Coming at 6, I'd have to have dinner on the table at 4 or 4:15. That just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I think we all have different responsibilities. I'd miss my kids' sports games. I'd have to leave work early and not schedule appointments with clients.
Yeah.
So I think we all come from different lenses and backgrounds, and we would just have to adjust, you know, if that's the will of the committee. And I think starting at, and I think starting at 6 and ending at 9 is much different in getting lots of work done from 7 to 9.
But
so that's my reasoning.
I just think we couldn't hold to 3 hours a month.
Oh, no,
that's been my experience.
We may not.
And when executive sessions are added in, you almost certainly have to go to another meeting. So I would rather know what's on my calendar and be there for 2.5 hours. And we all know sitting for more than an hour is the new smoking. So.
and I think my last back and forth would be, I would actually much prefer executive sessions to be a special meeting, because then so that could be the second meeting if there was an executive session.
Yes, but sometimes the timing isn't right for that, and it's a long commute for some of us, and I value being here in person.
Jeannie?
I think at some point the governor is going to stop the virtual meeting.
And we won't have a
I
choice.
think that will be his decision. There was something that my husband and I had to do this week, and we were told that if we waited until after July 15th, that it could not be virtual. It would have had to have been in person. So that would have meant us driving out to the eastern part of the state. So there are some things that the virtual meetings are going to stop.
Alan?
Or you could do virtual meetings, but you have to have a majority of the committee present, and then those that can't make it, you could do virtual. That said, I'd be amenable to 6:30. That's 2.5 hours, but again, it's if the tradition is 7, it's the will of the committee.
Nathan?
I think the virtual meetings are especially helpful when it comes to the subcommittees.
Yes.
Because it allows to get people there. It's a drive, especially in the winter for some of us, to come here. And it allows us to keep doing the committee's work by doing remotely. So even if the governor says, you know what, we're not doing this, this is not a statewide mandate, it would be helpful for the committee to still have that option.
But I think if the governor says no, it's no statewide. Yeah.
For schools.
That's a really good option.
David? And then Stephanie.
Well, what I know is that there is an amendment on the budget that if it passes, it will extend the remote past July 15th.
Right.
Thanks, David. Stephanie?
Just to piggyback off of Melissa regarding the remote start, I mean, I can totally agree with her that we've had a late start every time we have it because we do have to do the sound check. But that being said, if we do continue with the remote, we do have it on our agenda that if there is an issue with the links, the public meeting will still continue in person. So maybe we just start the meeting at 7 and we just have to go forward and make it a standard that we meet at 7. And if somebody's going to be virtual, maybe if they show up to the meeting a little earlier so Tyler can do sound checks, that could be an option too. But, you know, when we do waste 9 minutes, I mean, I was looking through previous meetings and it's 9 minutes here, 12 minutes there, 13 minutes there. It does add up, so.
It would be
Yeah,
good
it doesn't add up any more than the commute from Warwick to Pioneer and back, or to Leiden.
It would be good if the people who were signing in remotely did sign in early, so that they did all that sound check, everything else.
I just want to note quickly, though, that Tyler does a phenomenal job.
Yes,
He really
thank you,
does.
Tyler.
Yeah.
None of these are issues that any of us could ever figure out on our own, that's for sure. So.
For sure. I have one more
Karen,
thing.
yep.
It's about the April vacation week meeting. Traditionally, we haven't had too many meetings during vacation, and there were people who had to come in remotely because they have families and their kids are out of school and they go on vacation. So I wonder if we could make that second meeting April 27th. That still gives us a full 2 weeks till the next meeting.
I think that's a good suggestion.
So there's been a few suggestions. We would need to entertain a motion either on some amendments or to accept it as amended. We already know the January 12th, it should be January 12th and January 19th, and then we've crossed out school vacation week. But is there a motion?
So I would move to capture that then, that we approve the 2022-23 school committee calendar with the following amendments to it. January 17th is 19th, April 20th, if I may, I'd say 27th, the meeting, and we remove the meeting on April 20th.
And we're crossing out school vacation week after February 16th.
Thank you. Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Discussion.
Further discussion, though?
I have a question.
Yes.
I think I have captured those 3 changes. Was there a decision about the time? No.
No, that's, I think.
I said
okay,
as
sorry,
presented,
that's
so
that.
it's
Yep.
right there
Yep.
at 7 o'clock.
One thing to note, and those of you that have been on the committee for a while, I believe that you used to rotate the location.
Yes.
So all of these are listed as PVRS. That's just something to consider as well. We kept it here related to COVID and cleaning and those types of things.
And technology, I don't know
Yes.
what the impact is. Our
When it's
team would
remote.
need to, no, they would need to bring their equipment to BES and NES
Right.
and set up.
So I
So that's a
think-
different issue though, right? Because we're just voting on the calendar. We can always decide where we're going to have it at another
No.
time.
I
right?
think
Well,
that's
I
the
think
same. No,
because
this
it
is the
has-
No, it
same.
says,
That's the same.
There's PVRS under location.
location.
I need my glasses.
Location.
This is the location on the side.
Oh, thank you.
So to clarify, we are committing 2 separate agenda and meetings as a whole committee every single month.
And my understanding is the second one, if it doesn't have to happen,
No, that's not what this, that's,
A meeting
It's-
can always be canceled,
right,
but
we're setting the times, but if we
Right.
don't have to have that second
Right.
meeting in the middle of the
As
winter.
long as we give notice to the public. Ahead of time, we can cancel a meeting.
For the most part, we would know at the first meeting.
Yes.
Of the month
Yes.
if the next one.
Yeah.
Publishing this list does not meet our open meeting requirements. We do not have to give notice that we are not meeting. We have to give notice when we are meeting.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, we still have to, even though we publish this calendar, we still have to post the meetings.
Post every time, yes.
Every meeting.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I just think that this gives a lot of flexibility for additional things to be added at a second meeting that could be pushed off till the next month. So if we're posting a new, because we're not recessing, this would be a new
I'll
meeting.
get you David in 1 second.
And you only need to post 48 hours previous. So in essence, we will not necessarily know, we may not know at the first meeting of the month if we're going to have another meeting that next month. We will, as school committee members, the next week.
You said month.
Month.
Sorry, week, right? So I think it definitely opens up a lot more opportunity. So I just kind of want to put it out there, especially when we have a changing school committee, different people are going to be running, on top of subcommittees, on top of everything else. So this is a lot to commit to. Instead of, I don't think we're getting succinct. I think we're elongating everything. So
David was next, and then Jeannie.
I'd like to speak in support of Alan's idea that we prioritize, first of all. Secondly, I'd like to speak against marathon meetings. I think the optimum meeting time is 1.5 hours or less, and I would prefer 2 1.5-hour meetings to 1 3-hour meeting, personally. And I don't care, well, I care. I think marathon meetings do not result in good decision-making, but I'm not concerned with the schedule past November.
As am I.
right.
Jeannie.
The one thing with the 7 o'clock start time is it does leave the opportunity for a subcommittee to meet at 6 o'clock prior to the 7 o'clock school committee meeting. And I think there have been some subcommittees that have taken advantage of that. I certainly know negotiations has done that many times.
Even today.
This spring, yes.
Right.
So that's an advantage of it being 7 p.m.
Julie?
Yes, Alan. And
just
then Nathan.
Going back to follow up with Melissa, though, the reason, there were several reasons for that comment about being succinct and only having things come here. And I would hope that there's the thought process of, do we really need to have this on another follow-up meeting, or can this actually happen? And so I'd be entering these in on my calendar, and in my mind, they're placeholders. And the goal is to finish our business in a efficient manner in our first meeting.
Yeah, good point. And I just want to say, a 12-member committee is enormous. So even when you have the best intentions, it's going to be long. It truly is. To make sure that everyone has the opportunity to say their piece at least once, it's tough.
We have 18 members.
Oh, bless you.
On the 6th, and we have 2-hour meetings.
Can we call the vote after Nathan's done?
Nathan.
Yeah, I was just going to say that if we vote on this now, we're going to have at least some new members coming up in November. If we vote on this now, can we then readdress it when we have new members?
I mean, the time part.
Yes.
Yeah,
just the time
I think
part.
so.
That's the new chair.
I have one very quick comment. Subject to change at any time is written right there. So this is not set in stone.
No.
And the goal, I think, for all of us is to try to meet once a month. And if we can get all our business done, we will meet once a month. And I don't have any desire to have more meetings than we need. That's my goal.
All right, so the motion that was on the table.
I didn't even see location. That's how blind I am tonight.
That was to accept the schedule as it is with the correction of January 19th, the strike through of vacay week for February 16th, and to move the April 20 to April 27. That was Alan's motion.
And to strike the vacation week that's on here.
Yeah, I said that, yep. And then that was seconded?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, Melissa?
Melissa Gary, no.
Raina Daster, yes.
Jeannie Milton, yes.
Michelle Geruso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
David?
Aye.
What?
Aye.
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 Aye, aye.
Okay, and Julie Burke will abstain, just because I don't have any skin in that game. I know, sadly. All right, next order of business, number 3, and I just want to do a time check, it's 8:20. Oh, this needs to be moved to next week's.
Number 3?
Yes. As there's still some work going on with that. And then number 4, we have the Director of Finance and Operations contract. So we met last week. Was that just last week? I think it was. Yeah. And we had come to an agreement for a contract with, I can't believe it, Jordan Burns. Yes. Yes, it is in our packets. I'm so sorry. Yep. So we voted at that time, perhaps not even really needing to, knowing that we would be voting in open session here on the contract. So since this has already been discussed in detail and we've already, you know, I don't know if people need a few moments to look through it or we can entertain a motion.
I move that we
Julie?
accept this contract.
Oh, yep, go ahead, David.
Sorry.
It would be in service to the open meeting law if we said a few words about the process in the executive session and how we came to the point of being ready to make this decision in open meeting. It's executive session is for negotiating, but open meeting is for putting your cards on the table now that we, got an understanding. So somebody could just summarize for the benefit of the public as to why we're saying yes here.
No, that's a great point, David. Thank you. Is there anyone willing to summarize? If not, I will go through and just grab some bullet points. Anyone like to? Alan?
I could be more than happy to. So this is a contract that begins June 15th. He's going to come on a little bit early, work for a couple weeks, and then he would continue in the contract and it would go until June 30th, 2025. The work year is 52 weeks, 260 work days. The duties will be as required of the Director of Business and Finance. He will hold all the proper certifications. There'll be an evaluation process, which the superintendent will be responsible for. The compensation is, in the first 2 years, $115,000. The third year will be negotiated. He will get vacation consistent with vacation that's offered other employees in the district that are non-union, 20 days vacation. And some flexibility in that language, and then it'll move to 25 days. Holidays will be all those that are presently observed in central office. Sick leave will be consistent with the majority of non-union contracts in the district. 18 annual paid sick days can accumulate in the duration of this contract up to 54. You'll have a couple days of personal leave, consistent bereavement leave with other contracts. With permission from the superintendent, will be reimbursed accordingly for expenses associated with the position. Same insurance that's offered other district employees. Termination language for cause or for good cause or not cause, and that's a lengthy but very standard process which would include also, if it needed to be, going to arbitration. We offer indemnification, and this contract is, represents the entire agreement. If any portion of it is deemed to be problematic, the rest of it remains intact. And if anyone wants to add of any substantial things I may have missed.
No, that was a good summary.
Good summary.
All right, entertain a motion.
I move that we accept this contract as written for Jordan Burns as our Director of Finance and Operations.
A second?
Second?
Any further discussion?
Do we need to, oh, we did specify the term would start June 15th. Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, Melissa?
Melissa Gary, yes.
Raina Dasu, yes?
Jeannie Milton, yes.
Michelle Druso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, an enthusiastic yes.
Schwartz, yes.
David Young, yes.
And Julie Burke, Northfield, yes. Great, that is unanimous.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so next we have our Chair of Curriculum and Personnel, Karen O'Neill, is handing out the Superintendent's Evaluation Report.
Do you want to sign? So you would do the 9th day of June.
Yeah.
And then I think on those back 2 pages also. Then
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yep. And David, I can send you a copy. Okay, last week, Julie and I met to compile the 10 individual superintendent evaluations we received into a single summative evaluation. For the rankings portion, we made our determination according to recommended preponderance of scores mechanism that DESE suggests. For written comments, we were guided by a standard of including comments of a similar nature, that is, at least 2 people making a similar observation. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. Part 1 of the evaluation is progress toward goals, and the committee rated the superintendent as having made significant progress on all 3 goals. There is no separate comment section for the goals, but they are addressed in Part 3. Part 2 is performance on the 4 standards. Standard 1 is instructional leadership, and the rating is proficient. Some of the members observed the lack of progress on this goal, and to be fair, Ms. Kinsella pointed that out herself. And we expressed both hope and confidence that this goal will be a point of focus in the coming year or years. Additionally, several members noted Ms. Kinsella's frequent visits and involvement at the elementary schools as evidence of her instructional leadership. Standard 2, management and operations, proficient. According to our members, Ms. Kinsella possesses notable skills in budget development, communication using data, and oversight of the budget process. She devoted significant time and attention throughout the budget timeline. Ms. Kinsella was also cited for her knowledge of policy, law, and contract issues, as well as for her understanding of the implications of policy and regulations. Standard 3, family and community, proficient. As a committee, we have witnessed Ms. Kinsella's focus on involvement with families and community. We know that that has been a priority for her. Here are some of the descriptors used in our evaluations: organized, seeking and utilizing feedback, perseverance in the face of negativity, and regular, clear communication with families. Several members singled out the district update as an example of her focus on families and community. Standard 4, professional culture, proficient. Ms. Kinsella's all-around high expectations for all with whom she works were cited, as well as her clear and organized in-person communication. Additionally, she was commended for seeking and acting on feedback. So that brings us to part 3. Our overall summative performance evaluation is proficient. In final evaluator comments, members wrote of the challenges of an interim term. They listed qualities of effective verbal and written communication, dedication, leadership, transparency, intelligence, and outreach as enabling Ms. Kinsella's success. An additional common theme was an expectation of continued progress on student learning goals that would include data on student progress, as well as attention to the social and emotional components of student learning. So, at this point, I would like to open up this portion of the meeting to comments from people who feel perhaps their voice was not heard in this evaluation, or for any additional discussion you would like to have at this point. And thank you all for participating. This was a good turnout this year. Thanks.
Just on that, Karen?
Yes.
Out of the 12 members or 11 members,
Yes?
did most of them or all of them participate?
10 of the
Okay,
11.
that's good.
Mhm. And, but I would say that only 5 people wrote comments. So it was, in a way, it was a little bit difficult to hold to our standard of including things that at least 2 people had noted in their comments. Anything else? I think we should have a motion to adopt this report. Would anybody like to
So moved.
accept it, adopt it, whatever?
And do we typically give the superintendent the opportunity to
if she,
comment,
if she
or?
would like.
I mean, you don't need to. I just wanted you to have the opportunity to.
Anybody
Yeah.
present?
I appreciate the time and energy that members put into my evaluation, and I appreciate the comments. I look forward to continuing to improve my performance and supporting the improvements of the people whom I lead, and I will take your feedback to heart when I read the document. Thank you.
Okay, I would just like to end with one more comment. DESE says in their evaluation of the superintendent information and guidance that proficient performance is understood to be fully satisfactory. And they also say, these are their words, it is a high standard, a rigorous, expected level of performance. So I'm very pleased to be able to report those to you tonight. Thank you. Shall we move to accept this report? Anyone?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, Melissa?
Melissa Gary, yes.
Raina Dastu, yes.
Judy Milton, yes.
Michelle Geruso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
David Young, yes.
Julie Burke, yes. Okay.
Thank you, and I'm going to give the, all the evaluations to Patricia for her review, and then they remain on file because they are part of the public record.
Thank you. I appreciate all of your work. Thank you.
Julie, Stephanie's trying to
Oh,
get
I'm
you.
sorry, Stephanie.
I just want to make a quick comment. It wasn't for discussion, but I want to thank Karen for her really well-detailed instructions on how to do the evaluation. I found it very easy to follow, and so I really appreciate your time writing those up, so thank you.
Well, you're welcome, thank you.
And a clarifying, this evaluation then goes, since we've accepted it, into the personnel file, into your personnel file?
Yes, and the ratings would be reported to DESI.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next is other business. Does anyone have any other business? I do not. Okay. Subcommittee reports. First of all, negotiation subcommittee, and Raina is the chair.
Yeah.
So we don't have an update today.
Okay. Building and grounds, Melissa?
There's no new update. We did post a meeting for next Monday, so we'll be meeting, and the agenda's been posted for that.
Great.
Oh, curriculum and personnel?
Yes, indeed.
We met on Monday to hear a presentation from Ariel Leroux, curriculum coordinator, Nikki Pullen, Valerie Fontaine, and Karen Browning, all of whom work here at Pioneer on the progress of the Pathways program and the COVID impacts that it has sustained, as well as the focus for the coming year. We also discussed briefly that we will probably be involved in some aspect of the job description for the school resource officer.
Okay, thank you. Budget subcommittee.
We have not met.
Okay. Policy subcommittee.
It's coming to a meeting near you next week.
All right.
We'll be presenting the draft of our policy manual after 2.5 years of work. We've just been dotting the i's and crossing the t's back and forth between myself and Tracy Novick of MASC. And she has volunteered to walk anybody through how you deal with it electronically, which is the way it will be presented to you. It is just too costly and environmentally ridiculous to send out a draft of, I don't know how many pages it ends up.
1,000 or something?
It's been over 1,000 in the past. One of our goals, it's less this time. One of our goals was to weed out things that were actually procedure and not policy. Okay? Thank you.
Great, thank you. District agreement subcommittee.
I can't remember what I reported last, but documents are going to the lawyers, our lawyer. I don't know if Patricia has anything else to add to that. Okay.
Everything on?
Okay, so they're either en route or they're...
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It's been very busy.
Yes. And then Warwick Transition Subcommittee.
Yes, we have a meeting next, is it Wednesday, the 15th?
Yep.
Whatever the 15th is. We have another 2 or 3 hour session in the evening.
Okay, thank you. So the last item on our agenda is an executive session. So I'm thinking, in the interest of time, sometimes we have adjourned from the executive session, but I think this time we would need to come back into open session as it's regarding the superintendent's contract, and Patricia will meet
Sit
with us.
here.
Yeah, I know.
While you go.
You and Tyler can hang
You can walk the
Tyler
parking lot.
and I are gonna find out what each other likes on Spotify.
But that will be, unless anyone has an objection, that will be the only thing we will return. So there's nothing in personnel. Number 9, miscellaneous updates, good and welfare. Okay.
Good and welfare, I'd like to say, I'm proud to announce that as of Saturday, I will have been married for 50 years.
Oh, wow.
Same wonderful person, and therefore I may not be at the baseball game.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
That is a,
Patricia, did we find out the team?
I've looked a couple times. I'll look again. It hasn't been posted.
And a clarifying question, are we ending the meeting tonight at 9?
we would sure hope to, but that's 20 minutes.
And from the good and welfare, I just want to point out that many of us attended the graduation, and it went very
Yes.
smoothly. It was absolutely perfect weather. The speeches were right on, and they were a lot of fun. And so it was a true celebration. So kudos to everyone involved.
That's such a great point, Ellen. Thank you. It was a beautiful night.
Yeah.
To add to that, it was very clear that Patricia did some background checks on graduating seniors, and where their interests are after graduation. That was very refreshing to me. I love hearing, even without names coming out, what some of the students will be doing after graduation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that should be done at every school.
Yeah, that was a beautiful
So
touch. It was.
personal.
Is it?
Oh, we should go out there and clap.
Gosh, they're awfully late.
Well, Oxford
they-
No,
is-
it was in Oxford.
But it's only
Which is down near, it's south,
They may have
south of
paraded. Do you
Worcester.
think they paraded?
I wonder if they
down by
paraded.
They might have stopped for food.
about an hour and a half.
Yell out the window.
Congratulations, guys. All right.
You want to entertain a motion, please?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. You entertain it. I'll second it. But
So,
you're deeming it necessary to go into executive session.
Yes.
because
So
that's
if
your
someone
decision.
can please read,
Sure.
make a motion and read the entire executive session here.
I move we go into MGL, into executive session under MGL, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategies sessions in preparation negotiation with non-union personnel, to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contractual negotiations with non-union personnel, as the superintendent of schools return to open session for possible discussion and potential vote.
I second it.
Okay, great. Further discussion? All right, we'll need a roll call vote to go into executive session. Melissa?
Melissa Gary, yes.
Raina Dastu, yes.
Jeannie Milton, yes.
Michelle Girousso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Alan Genovese, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
David Young, yes.
And Julie Burke, yes. Okay, so we'll bring you along with us, David, once we know that the live feed is on. All right, welcome back, everyone. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Melissa?
Melissa Gary, yes.
Raina Dastu, yes.
Jeannie Milton, yes.
Michelle Girousso, yes.
Stephanie Winslow, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Okay, Alan Genovese, yes.
Nathan Swartz, yes.
David Young, yes.
And Julie Burke, yes. All right. Thank you,
Good night,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you all.